The next item on the agenda is Sex Education and AIDS Education Committee recommendations.
Good evening, everyone. I have come to present the committee recommendations to you, but before I do, I want to give you just a little bit of background. The state of Georgia has a law that requires a committee with every school district to come up with recommendations related to sex education and, excuse me, and AIDS education. Along with it, there's a board policy as well, state board policy. And so the committee that they designate says that you must have mostly parents and community members, some educators, and at least two, I don't know what's up with the microphone, but I can talk loud, and at least two students in either 11th or 12th grade. And we had 15 members of this committee, two of which were students that were, one was in the 11th grade, one was in the 12th grade, that were all, we had members from the court system, members from local churches, leaders from local churches, some counselors, some educators, several parents from a variety of different business levels that had children that were in all levels of our educational system here in Pickens County. So we felt they were well represented. We were representing our stakeholders very well with this. Also present in the committee were the teacher, Coach Rasco from the high school, who teaches sex education. Primarily, he said, to 9th graders. They're using the health text, and he has, all of his material comes from the health text itself. It was already a pre-approved textbook. And then the two volunteer instructors that work with Jasper Middle School and Pickens County Middle School that are volunteers through the Georgia Pregnancy
the North Georgia Pregnancy Center.
Yes, I'm sorry, thank you. And in any event, they showed us and spoke about what the context and content of the materials were. The 6th and 7th grade materials come from the Safe and Family Education group, and there are copies in both middle schools. There are copies at the district office too, as well. And I believe I sent I know I sent copies out to the committee, but I can easily send copies out to you as far as the curriculum that is used at both middle schools and the high school. These were thoroughly reviewed by members of the committee, and they made several recommendations for immediate approval. The first, and you should have a copy of those recommendations in eBoard. Each middle school should draft a permission slip for the sex education, AIDS education class using the model used in the past. Parents of middle school students should be given the opportunity to opt out rather than opt in those students for the class during health. One of the concerns, to digress just a second, of the committee was that there were too few, in their opinion, students that in the middle school level that were receiving this instruction, because it was you had to have the permission slip to get in. Now, either way, parents can choose not to have their students participate, but they felt like there was some disconnect between that permission slip getting to the parents themselves and the students just not turning it in so they wouldn't have to go. And so they thought that perhaps that might be a better way to at least get it into the hands of the parents. If the students didn't want to go, then they would have to have that sign out. Now, the other thing, as we go down the list, we'll include some more two-way communication with the parents to make sure that they are made aware of when and what's going on. So if I can go on down the list, they're not necessarily categorized, but we all had that concern. Middle school curriculum should be consistent across the grade levels between boys and girls. There was some question at the time of the committee while we had the curriculum, there was a little bit of difference in what was discussed with the boys and what was discussed with the girls. So the committee insisted that that be consistent and the same. The boys and girls should continue to be separated at the middle school level. Right now they are receiving instruction, boys with Mr. Miller and girls are with Ms. Knapp. Currently, 6th grade students receive only 2 days of instruction, and 7th and 8th grade students receive 3 days of instruction. It was recommended that all grade levels receive 3 days of instruction at the middle school, with consistent lessons planned from the current curriculum. The curriculum at all levels should be made available to parents, both digitally and paper copies. A contact person for questions, such as the counselor at each school, should be designated and posted for parent questions. In other words, posting on the website, letting them know parents know who they can contact, who they can speak to if they have questions regarding the specific content in the materials that are taught. It was recommended that the school advisory council in each school be informed regarding the sex education, age education class, and curriculum for input into how this has been implemented in the schools, as well as articulating the needs of the particular school. What they were suggesting is making sure that the school advisory council saw this curriculum as well, had input into it, and made that awareness available out to the other parents. It was recommended to continue the use of the current curricular materials in the middle school and the high school. It was felt, and this is the reason for some of the requests for our spring meeting. We don't have to meet more than once or twice a year. But to look at the curriculum we have, it appears a bit dated, and see what other more contemporary materials are out there that make a little more sense to our students. Also to discuss options for including grades 10 through 12 in the sex education, AIDS education instruction. Coach Rasco said that this is primarily the health class that is in 9th grade. There are a few 10th graders and 11th graders, but the vast majority are 9th graders. And so there was concern to make sure that there were some options available to the older high school students as well.
Is there a certain time during the year that the middle school receives this instruction, or is it?
They receive it as part of their health class.
As they get to it in the curriculum?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That is correct. It's their PE class that has the health inside.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
So did I see on Facebook that we're fixing to do this again? We've already done.
Jasmine Middle School is getting ready to offer the class, yes, because it's...
Yeah, Lana's been going back and forth. Didn't she email you?
She did, and I emailed back.
We've been working on the actual letter.
Right, the letter hasn't gone out yet, so the class isn't happening until after the letter comes back.
It was posted on the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're in the process of getting ready to start that again with permission slips, but nothing happens until those permission slips are returned properly. Any other questions? Thank you.
Does that require it?
It does.
I'd just like to say I appreciate the service of the committee. You know, I appreciate all them coming and helping us out with this, and I do support the recommendations of the committee.
I'll entertain a motion that we approve the recommendations as presented.
I make a motion.
Motion is made by Dr. Fincher and Mrs. Andrews.
I'll second.
Was a second by Mrs. Andrews. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0.